This content is for kids.
It's not for kids.
Isn't that what I said?
No, it's not for kids. If you are 13 years or younger, this is not for you. Do I have to kill somebody in order to actually make that point across?
No, man, you don't have to kill no one.
Wait a second.
Oh, no.
We return to our planet. The High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies. We like movies. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. I'd buy that for $1.
Welcome to another episode of SeptumSin versus the World. I'm SeptumSin. Well, we are back with another movie review. This is the show where I review micro-budget films, and only micro-budget films, maybe a low-budget one here and there, but mostly micro-budget films. For good reasons. You know, at the beginning of time, at least the way I see it, around 1890 something, we did get the first few short films. And then something magical happened. We got the first full-length feature film at around 1910, give or take a few years. This was amazing for the medium. A medium that not many years before people were jumping at seeing a train come at them from the silver screen. This was an amazing thing, and from that time, people were obsessed. They thought it was a fad that didn't go away. And all that time, people were trying to make movies. And that's really great. I think that spurred a golden age, and lots of movies were made. The equipment was not super cheap, and studios were not super easy to come by, so for a while filmmaking was in the hands of pretty much just those who could afford it. Now, later on, we got to see the birth of micro-budget films, and Troma really did a lot to push this through. Lloyd Kaufman was very encouraging of new directors, saying, just film something, just make something. And that has spurned a lot of the people that I love making films with, or being in films with, or even watching the films of. Things like Video Violence, Splatter Farm, Lost Faith, or the Camp Blood films. People who have little to no money found a way to express themselves on the screen. And here we are with a friend of mine, David Strege from Inside Movies Galore, in his attempt at doing his first feature film. Now, this is a different way. I chose my first feature film to be a documentary, which was just me talking into a camera. For him, he chose the line of anthology, because with the anthology, you just got to get the people who want to make the films, and you got to do a wraparound, or absence of wraparound if you look at, say, Amityville Apocalypse. So there's less that you have to put into it, or more, depending on what you want, and you can still come out with something good. So here we have Tales of the Forgotten. Now, this is one that was directed by many different people with anthology films, and is an exceptionally long film at 170 minutes. This beast of a film has a lot to cover, and we're going to talk about all of it here today. But let's talk about what you get in the package, because that is important. I helped edit a lot of this stuff together. Not the short films themselves, but placing the short films, a lot of the wraparound, So we can blame some of the editing issues on me. But we're going to get to that in a minute. So there's two ways to get this. You can get it on DVD, which I have that in storage somewhere. Same cover, though. And you can get it on Blu-ray, which is what I have here. You can see what it looks like on the inside. Got a good cover there with Boris on there. I love that, where he's got the cloak and he's like... That's really good. So if you get the DVD, what do you get? The movie. The DVD is there because there are some people who only like the DVD format. That's all that DVD is there for. People who want it on DVD and nothing else. The Blu-ray is where all the features are. So we've got all the extras from the Boris DVD. We've got Tears for Tentacles behind the scenes. We have Pandora behind the scenes. We have the Pandora trailer. We have the Tough Cookie, a message from camp, little behind the scenes things. And then we have the Tough Cookie trailer. To me, this does have a lot of value to it. And you, too, can get a copy of this by going to the link below. It's right now, that is the only way you can get a hold of this movie. It's not up on streaming. It's nowhere but on physical. You can get the DVD or the Blu-ray. And the only way you can get this film right now, as I'm talking to you, we're hoping to expand a little bit, is down below in the detail section. I am going to have some spoilers in this. I can't go through without revealing any, but I will try to keep that there. So if you really, really are interested in this film, then, and you don't want any spoilers as to what's on it, go buy it, watch it, then come back to me.
Buy all our playsets and toys!
But otherwise, here we go. So let's talk about the plot of the wraparound. We're just going to cover that first. So Boris from Dark Zone 13, that Boris, if you are familiar with the Joe Sherlock film, he has lost a loved one and ends up falling to the temptations of the devil. Unfortunately, this means that he has to start recounting evil tales for Satan's pleasure. So, the pacing of this is not good. The start of the story is 20 minutes long before we get to the first actual feature.
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it.
I am enjoying this scene.
Get on with it!
I mean, there are chapter breaks, so if you see it the first time and you're done, you can skip it. I mean, I'd put chapter breaks in so that you can go to each individual short film. I feel like this is something that probably could have been done in 5 to 10 minutes. Again, it's what the director wants, and I'm hoping that that's there. And if the director is happy, really that's all that matters at the end of the film. My thoughts don't really matter all that much at the end, but I do feel like the pacing was not so good.
Just get to the point.
And it is a hard thing to get through, but it is worth getting through. I think that the ending part of it, where you get to see Boris actually get that whole like Ouija board and all that going, that's pretty darn cool. I think some of the shots of the graveyard are pretty cool, but yeah, I feel like it could have been shortened to like 5-10 minutes and we could have done well. The acting in it is actually pretty good. I mean, it's only really Philippe who plays Boris, and he does an amazing job returning to the character. I think he's a great horror host. I think he works perfect in the role. I love the little scene where he's making like his own little meal. That I do think is great. The only unfortunate side of this is that there are very few segments. I think there's only like 3, maybe 4 throughout the whole film, and this is a 170-minute film. I feel like it could have been broken up more with more of these segments. Because whereas I do think that the first segment, which is a short film in and of itself, could have been shortened and wasn't the best. I do think that the little breakups at the middle and end were actually quite fun, and I think putting in more of those would have been a good thing, and that's something that was fixed in Tales of the Forgotten Act 2, but we do have more of those. I think every other film that we have them. And speaking of that 170-minute runtime, this is a very long anthology film. Most people have that concept of like 90 minutes for a horror movie. Maybe if it's a really good horror movie, they'll stay for a little longer. But when we're talking like 3 hours...
Ah, you fool! You fell victim to one of the classic blunders!
I don't know. That is a long time to stay with a film. Again, I feel like these are things that were legitimately looked at and were mostly fixed in the sequel, which is out, by the way. And this is one of the things I felt like putting this out for. It is out. It is also available in the link down below.
Buy all our playsets and toys!
And we will have a review for that out probably in about a month or so. Unless one of you guys does it for me. So let's talk production design. Well, the beginning is very up and down. I don't know whether it was an artistic choice. I'm still not quite certain. But like half the scenes were filmed vertically, half the scenes were filmed horizontally. I mean, I'm guessing it was I think it was a purposeful choice. Though I feel like it ruins kind of the consistency, and again, it kind of messes up what little pacing we have by kind of going throughout. This isn't TikTok. I do like seeing a lot of the backgrounds, the hospital, the sidewalk, the house. All of that was pretty good. And I thought that it really worked well. I understand there was something going on in the middle, like where, Boris didn't have his own voice or something. And then at the end, because at the end he's like, I am now talking to you with my own voice.
Holy crap, can you hear that? I'm actually speaking, which means I'm actually moving my lips.
But, I don't know. I think that he does really well, and his voice lends itself very well to this character. I do feel like, again, he does an amazing job in this department. Finally, the music. Well, there is a lot of original music here. And, pretty entertaining, works well for the plot. I had no issues with it whatsoever. I thought it went very well with it. Not one I would buy an individual CD for, but at the same time, one that I don't mind hearing in the background. Well, I guess let's get into the short films. So the first one, Loner. A man tries to live his life during the early stages of the COVID pandemic. This film has a political message, get out, live your life, kind of almost that, unmask, be free type thing. So it's kind of an anti-masker symbolism film, and I guess if you were a part of that movement, you would really like this film. I think it does a good enough job trying to convey what it's trying to say. It doesn't need a lot. The acting was pretty decent. The shots were, simple apartment, outside the apartment, that's it. So, I mean, we all lived through it. We all had to do some stuff, and it was pretty good. It wasn't scary, but, it wasn't a bad film. Music, not really there. So, the second film, Pandora, kind of brings it back into the horror or suspense type thing. You got a woman who is grieving the loss of a relationship, but the story has a little bit of a twist that turns into something more disturbing and a little less familiar. The concept of this Pandora's box, it's not a new concept. Well, Pandora's box is a tale that is very old. but it is still quite unsettling and disturbing. And the image itself of the box just jumping, especially in the trailer of this film, it is an amazing thing. It does help push this or sell this film. The acting is very well done. It's an amazing little story that is conveyed very well with minimum dialogue. The body language, and I think if you're a great actor, you don't need dialogue. The greatest actors of our time were in the silent era. They could do things with body language, express things that we could not today, because that's all they had to work with, and that was amazing. And these people do an amazing job. It's not a silent film, but they made it work. Production design, I love the little image of the locked chest. Again, that is great. I think that they didn't have to have a lot of different backdrops, but the old house is creepy. I would love to see this revisited. You could do like a horror film with that attic. That is excellent. Excellent set there. And finally, the music is creepy. It fits. It works. Very good. Moving on. Tough cookie. Cookies. Well, we have a hired killer going after a group of lady drug dealers, and they are looking for revenge. This ends up pretty much as a Boy Scouts versus Girl Scouts gang war. The first time I watched this, I wasn't really interested in it, but the second time I got more into the Tarantino-esque look and feel of the film. The only thing that's missing really is all of the N-bombs that you would hear in a Tarantino film. The dialogue still is cheesy, the action is still over the top. I think that it is great, though not really a horror film. Again, acting is fair. It works out in a B-movie manner. It's not bad enough to take you out of the movie. It's not good enough that I would put it as an A-rank movie like a Tarantino film, but it definitely hits the mark. It works what needs to be done. Production design is done in a 70s aesthetic. You can tell with the colors, the grainy film type, and the variety of costumes and weapons. This is done well enough. I think this is probably one of the highest budget films there, just because of the number of actors that they had on set, the number of effects they had going. They had some makeup, they had some blood effects. This was a pretty over-the-top film, and it's kind of cool that you have more special features about this film on the Blu-ray. Just the Blu-ray. And finally, the music, it does its job done. It has that 70s rock theme. It hits hard. It hits fast. It definitely has that Tarantino aesthetic. I think that this could have been a Tarantino student film back in the day. Really. Tarantino. Just so I didn't say the name of it.
And now for something completely different.
Alright, now to my favorite on this. Just the favorite short on this thing, and there's a longer version also of this elsewhere by the creators, but there is a film here called The Damn Witch, and I love this. It's about a woman who gets a demonic sandwich that slowly possesses her, so it's like The Exorcist but with a deli. I love the whole demonic sandwich shop concept, and though I don't know why I find it as amusing as I do, this is probably one of the favorites. Just the little hand sandwich puppet, all that stuff. It just hits for me. It is a horror comedy. Well, as you would expect. If it's trying to be serious, there are problems here. But acting is fine. It's a micro-budget film. It's not great acting, but it's not acting that I would say is bad for what it is. Any micro-budget feature or micro-budget short film gets that kind of pass for me. If you don't take me out of the film, the acting is good in my opinion. And in this, they didn't take me out of the film. So acting is on. You split on. Alright, let's get into the production design. There were some effects in this, and they were decent enough. I liked the sandwich hand puppet. That was my favorite of all of it. But there were a few other little things here and there, and they did well for what it was. Finally, about music, we had a few selections that were pretty good. Most did not stand out that bad. But again, as I've said before, if it doesn't take you out of the movie, that's not a big deal. So, the next is A Dubious Night. We get a bunch of people who meet at a bar and talk about their night and their dreams, but that this place is not quite what it seems. This is an interesting tale that offers a bit of a mystery and may even be a good little holiday piece. You know, put this thing into your Blu-ray player and then just put on that short film and litter rip. I think it was fun. It has a great little twist at the end. Nothing that makes me go, oh my gosh, I love this, but I think it's a fun one and one I might put on the holidays if I'm looking for a little short, dark tale on a snowy night. The acting is decent. Actually, more than decent. It's actually good. I wouldn't say Oscar level, but it was very good. I think it could stand up for most movies, even at the B level, instead of the micro-budget level. So it came together well. We had a decent-sized cast. All of them worked together. Very good. Production sign didn't have a lot going for it. Had enough, though. Bar setting was a good setting to have. And, of course, the little effect at the end was also fun. Music also, again, fit the plot, carried it well, nothing that sticks out. Moving on. Hi Neighbor is also an amusing one. We have a neighbor that this woman doesn't like, so she keeps killing him. But there's a problem. He keeps coming back. This one also has a little bit of a twist to it, and it's kind of fun. This is a fun short. It's that horror comedy more than a horror aspect of it. I like that it's just a slight dark humor that we have here, especially with some of the heavier pieces, and it follows well behind the more thought-provoking piece of Dubious Night. So the acting is great. The guy playing the neighbor is hilarious. He does the annoying neighbor very well, and the woman does an amazing job showing her annoyance and I'm just gonna kill them. That was great. Production design was fine. I like some of the effects of the multiple neighbors and killings and all of that. They got very creative with it. I thought it was fun. Not a lot of practical effects, but the digital effects worked well enough. Music, again, was fine. It had that light, weird, cheery atmosphere that you would get when it comes to these types of dark humor movies. Very fun. Overall, enjoyable. Ocular. A series with disturbing images and various filters. I did not like this one. Matter of fact, I suggest that if you don't like disturbing imagery, don't watch this one. Skip it. Move on to something else. If you love disturbing imagery, go for it. I think that's fine by me, fine by you. Enjoy. I know for me on future watches, I will be skipping Ocular, because I don't like this sort of thing. As far as that, because of that, I think if you're not into disturbing imagery, you'll be like me, like counting the minutes. Is it over? Is it over? Is it over? But I do think if you love disturbing imagery, you'll probably be like, oh my gosh, it's over. I want more. There's not really much acting in this, so, but what they have does a good job of being disturbing, so hey, we're good on that. Production design, again, they got what they want. They evoked revulsion and disgust. That was there. I think they did very good at that. And then finally, music. Soundtrack was as disturbing as the film. They go well together. And I will never be watching it again.
No, sir, I don't like it.
T is for tentacles. Plot summary. Tentacle porn. What, you want more? I mean, really, I don't know, but I do find it funny that the tentacles actually put the glasses back on her during one of the scenes. This is a very Joe Sherlock type experience, and I wouldn't be surprised if he was there. And I do think that this belongs well in the film because there is kind of an ode to Joe Sherlock with the Dark Zone 13. So, yeah. I mean, that's about it. I mean, the woman appears to be scared and turned on, so I guess it's acting well. The production design, I mean, the tentacles look disgusting enough, looks disturbing enough. I think that's good, and if you're into that thing, I'm sure that you'll get a kick out of it. Not as disturbing as the other one. I shall not be named. And finally, the music. That's fine. I wasn't paying attention to the music. Let's move on to Ave Satanas. A woman seeks vengeance after being raped by a few people, finding solace in the arms of Satan. This is a very artistic film. Maybe a bit too artsy for this particular one. But it does kind of go with a few of the pieces. Like A Dubious Night is a good example. Maybe what was trying to be done with the opening scene here. And I really don't have anything to complain about other than it does kind of not fit with the rest of these in that way. It has kind of a Pumpkinhead quality, but it is much more artistic. You can tell, like, this is one of those artistic student film type deals. The acting was okay, a little bit wooden in parts, but then again, I think that wooden acting is a part of what's needed for this. The gore effects and makeup were well done. Nothing that would win me major awards, but you get what you need. People aren't in this one, particularly this one, for the gore effects, I would say. Maybe some of the others. Maybe for the one I blocked out mentally. Maybe that one. Maybe Ocular. But the other one, yeah. The music, though, is very haunting. And becoming metal when the killing starts really works well and reflects well. I will remember this particular music after the film is over. So finally, we get to the end, which is a killing statement. This is Dave's short film. I guess if you count the little thing in the credits, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But this is Dave's short film. It's basically Dave just sitting thinking about killing somebody, and you got like it's a pretty simple piece. But it's kind of a nice little end cap to it. I mean, the acting was okay. It was delivered smoothly. Didn't look like he was trying to look at his lines. It looked pretty good. Production was pretty simple. We had the angel and devil of Dave talking to him and, talking about, whether you should kill people or not. And I kind of liked the game over sign at the end. I thought that was a nice little effect.
Game over.
And the music was fine. Again, it fits well. I mean, I see where he was going with it. And that's it for it. I thought that was good. And I always wonder if that attaches to the stinger. You have a little stinger in the middle of the credits. And I think to myself, is this the aftermath? Is this what the guy in A Killing Statement did afterwards? But you yourself will need to watch the film to find out. Now, one fun thing about this, I'll give you a little bit of an interesting piece here. When we originally put this together, I know Dave really wanted to get all of the songs in on the credits, but that made the credits 30 minutes long. And really and truly, they're long credits, but not that long. So we did turn it down. I think there's only 2 songs in it. And the Tales of the Forgotten theme is actually pretty fun. So it's worth checking out when it comes to the end credits long enough for there. If it was 30 minutes, I would say, nah, don't worry about it. But let's end this by saying, Tales Forgotten is Dave's first effort. I feel like he was able to get some of his artistic interests out on the screen. He was able to use a lot of the connections he had, and they worked out well. You have a variety of short films with a variety of quality going throughout. I think that this has some worth. It has some areas that are not so good, but it has areas that are good as well. And that's one of the great things about anthology films, is that you have good and bad parts, but you're almost guaranteed to have something that will rock your world. Who is this for? Well, I think that if you like low-budget anthology films, you'll be good. If you're one of those people who was like, man, these films end too short, we need something longer, I think that will be on there. I think if you're fans of the Boris short from the Joe Sherlock film, Dark Zone 13, if you are a fan of that, you will like this film. Otherwise, I think it's a decent. There's a link down below. Get this one. Get the sequel. I'm in the sequel, so maybe I'll review it a little bit more favorably, No, for those of you who know, I'm very hard on my own self when it comes to acting. So, and I didn't act very well in this film. Yeah, check us out. Check it out in the link below. We may be working on some other things in the future. I think this is going to be a trilogy, but we haven't started on the third film yet. There's other projects that need to be done. But we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
SeptumSin versus the world. It's that place for all the boys and girls. You'll feel real safe, you'll feel real warm. It's a cozy place to ride out the storm. SeptumSin. SeptumSin and his best boy Jake see the trends that scare us every day. Physical media is going to the side. Doctor streaming will rule the world.